Friday afternoon. Hello there. Good afternoon and welcome to The Pulse. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Accra. We're on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air. You can get us live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon on The Pulse, enforcement against illegal mining measures will be pursued relentlessly. The spirited assurance from the Lands and Natural Resources Minister as government enhances measures to deal with the resurgence of illegal mining across the country.
And then Tiwa, I think, sent them in. And then by the time they got there, she bolted. That's what happened.
There's more from the statement being released by the ministry, and massive protests underway in the Upper West region as residents fume over a surge in the assassination of security personnel in the area. Stay with us for the latest. As JoyNews is learning, the youth have stormed the palace of the Wa overlord, demanding some remedial measures to some of the areas and searching the houses of foreign nationals in the area. And we also talk about the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who has finally opened up on his ambitions to run for president in the 2024 general elections. I will tell you about the key factor Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia believes will give a better chance to the New Patriotic Party in the next elections.
I think that, if you get to 2024 and you don't have a record, you will have nothing to campaign on. So right now, we are focused on that, and we don't know what the future holds, but we'll focus on the work.
We'll certainly tell you about what the Vice President is focused on this afternoon. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by the Global Communities Dignilu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, as always, we're streaming online on YouTube, and all of our social media handles is at JoyNews on TV. It's always a pleasure to serve you here on The Pulse. I am blessed Sogah. Do stay for detail. Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor is giving stern warning that the enforcement of anti-illegal mining measures will be pursued relentlessly without any regard to any political, social or economic standing of persons involved in galamsey. Now, government has come under intense criticism in recent times over claims that there is a lack of political will to crack the whip on illegal miners, especially foreign nationals, including the likes of Aisha Huang, a Chinese national accused of engaging in illegal mining. In a bid to address these concerns, the Lands Minister is telling us today that a meeting was organized to engage the Ministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, which made a number of resolutions. So let's tell you about that, because there are some key instructions contained in that statement from the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. We just might want to bring you excerpts of that statement as we have it. First of all, pointing out that there's obviously a meeting that took place today, which happens to be Friday, where the Ministerial Committee on Illegal Mining has actually made some engagements together with the Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, and it also includes the Local Government Minister for Decentralization, Rural Development. We also do have the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and also some Chief Executive Officers, including that of the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission. Beyond that, we do know that the meeting actually reviewed various steps and strategies being pursued and implemented to clamp down on illegal mining. Part of the key recommendations after the extensive review of operations so far is as follows. First of all, we do know that river bodies, forest reserves will continue to be marked as red zones. Now, according to the minister, we do know that no mining operation is permitted in and around or any river body in the country. And we do know that when it comes to prospecting, exploration activities, they continue to be banned in forest reserves. Now, point 2 is talking about Operation Halt, which the minister is giving a clear indication will obviously be ramped up in order to support the various measures being rolled out to implement the anti-illegal mining measures. And then the enforcement will definitely be pursued relentlessly without any regard to political, social, or economic standing of persons who are involved in illegal mining, because clearly this was raised in the Aisha Huang case. So we're getting some sense there from the minister that in terms of the pushback against illegal mining, that will be done, quote, with candor and utmost good faith. So that's the assurance coming through from the minister. Beyond that as well, point 4, is also raising a number of issues that the minister intends to deal with, which has got to do with the way forward and what it is that may be happening in the coming days in terms of scaling up military support for the boots on the ground. And part of them, we do understand, will involve the use of military force. And now we do know that the Ghana Police Service will be accompanying the Ghana Police Service and some other security agencies to deal with all of these issues. So it's contained definitely in that wide range of measures that will be used in the fight against illegal mining. Well, yesterday we do know that a former member of the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, Charles BC, who stated on the Pulse that government has not lost that fight against illegal mining. And here are excerpts of that interaction for you.
We got intelligence that she's come back within a week or something like that. And I reported it to Tiwa. And then Tiwa, I think, sent a men. And then by the time they got there, she bolted. That's what happened.
So that was the first time. And this, at this time, you were in office. So that,
Yes.
that should have been around
I think
August?
I can't remember.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know you were going to, but I know that something like that happened. And then we sent people there, and then she left some personal belongings. Tiwa was aware of that. So.
You mean the current Yoko boss?
Yes. She was then the CID.
What did she leave behind at the time? And what more details did you pick up on her as to what her operations may have been around the neighboring Republic of Togo?
No, I do not know. I mean, we got intelligence that she's back in the Ashanti region, in the country. And so we reported it to this because you need to be working with the agencies. And that's what I'm saying, that was the very essence of the Interministerial Committee. Because you see now, the Galamsey thing, I do not know if all the agencies are working together. The problem then was that you go to Minerals Commission for, you go to forestry, right? You're given an entry permit to go into the forest reserve. It is your decision. I mean, it's a decision, but it's up to you. Then you're told to go to Minerals Commission to go for permit, a license to mine. Right. That person can decide not to go. You see, that is the very reason why we brought the Galam stop together. So at a glance, you can see who is delaying the process. The government paid money, almost 10 million Ghana cedis for that. Where is it? Drone pilots were trained. There was a flight hub, computers and all that. That when we did the testing, and 144 of them went to civil aviation. At the point that we trained them, I remember that when after training them, that some of them couldn't pass because they had liver problems, eye problems, young people. Then I actually was able to establish a correlation between the mining areas and certain diseases. Right. So I spoke to Professor Frimpong and then I said, maybe we should get the Ghana Health Service involved with into doing another research for these areas and all that. So a lot of things with that. I spoke about the tracker, the Elembele case could have been solved easily because it's just a matter of sitting there with the European Space Agency and all that. When we're doing the vetting, the small-scale miners can talk about that themselves.
Charles BC there. But then the measures are obviously in place now, which we were earlier trying to talk to you about. But let's bring in now Darrell Bosu, who's the Deputy National Coordinator at Rocha, Ghana, obviously monitoring some of the measures being put out now by the sector Minister, Land and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapor, giving us a clear raft of measures, about 8 of them or beyond, in terms of what it is that government intends to do. And that includes banning prospecting for, of course, mining, start off with. Darrell, what do you make of these measures that are being announced now?
Very much, Blessed. And I need to say that we are not amused at all because these measures are no different from what came out of the recommendations from the 2021 regional level small-scale mining dialogues run across the country. Again, a lot of the things there is a repetition of what he himself, the minister, said in April. where he also announced the ban on mining and prospecting and forest reserves across the country, I only see him reiterating all the things he has said before. And I even have some issues with the committee set up now to really look at the issue again, because it's the same people, same officers, same institutions doing the same thing over
That's
again.
instructive because they're calling that the ministerial committee against illegal mining, except that there's a change in the nomenclature
exactly,
now, right?
Exactly. I don't even know when this was convened and when this was made published. We are just hearing about it in this press statement. And also the problem is that I don't see Water Resources Commission, which is also a very key agency that is needed to be at the table when this is being done. I don't see any civil society organization in this discussion as well, because we have left all of this discussion to these same agencies for the last 5 years since this government took office, and we've not seen any headway in this fight. So I'm really, it's the same team on the ground, the same team preferring the same issues they've been talking about for several years. Now let's look at one of the key ones. The first one, for example,
and we'll be rolling that intermittently so that our viewers can go along the points that you're raising. So yes, let's start off with the first one that you're talking about.
Yes, the first one, for example, is talking about rivers and forest reserves to be areas, red zones, and they are banned from mining and all of that. But if you really look at it, very recently, the minister was announcing on another platform that Ghana is currently embarking on 500 exploration activities across the country for several minerals like gold and lithium and all of that. The question everybody should be asking, where are these explorations happening? They are all in forest reserves. Most of them are in forest reserves. When he gave the directive commission to publish the forest reserves that are currently or are the various applications for not less than 6 very
yes, and I'm getting the sense of the point you're making. In fact, it's a good time to also bring on board some more measures, for instance, that are being pointed out in that statement. For instance, point four talking about the decision on some confiscated items such as the excavators and others, which government intends to do. We'll be rolling that shortly and giving
because
you a
there needs
sense.
to be some strong participation of local governments of people.
Daryl. So let's talk about the excavators, because it's been subject to a lot of controversies in recent times. I'm not sure of the exact wording. I'll be getting that for you. But then I want you to touch on the excavators and the plan being put in place now by the minister. The fact that now they'll be working with the Ghana Police Service, and so that all the items that are seized will then be given to the Ghana Police Service in line with the requirements of the law.
I think, yes, to a certain extent, government amended the Minerals and Mining Act. And one of the key provisions in that revision amendment was the fact that anybody who facilitates, provides excavators and all of that. So we should have had a system to be able to track and follow anybody who owns excavators and is being used in the field for mining. That is missing. And again, we do not currently see any structure in place for government to follow up on mining sites or areas that there have been some arrest miners, also who really owns these things. And that's how come we have situations where excavators are confiscated, they get missing and all of that. But the law is also very clear that when these issues are convicted, the state should confiscate those assets to the state. So I think that if we are not doing that, then it's a failing on our own selves to ensure compliance with the law. And you cannot blame anybody but the state itself for failing to do those, to enforce those provisions in the law.
And obviously, the minister indicating that he would not give a chance or spare anyone, be it a political figure or whatever their stature or standing may be in society. Can we take that from the minister, knowing what has happened in the past?
Exactly. That's why we said that we are not amused at all, and we only need to see how this pans out before we really can say that this time around they mean business. I mean, we've talked about this over and over again, Blessed, and you yourself know how many times this issue keeps coming up, the same narratives, the same strategies, and all of that, and we always come back to this again. I mean, it's getting frustrating, but I mean, we can't also let our eyes off the ball, and so we need to just keep watch and see how this pans out, I'll say.
So let's look at the way forward, and that's where I want to bring the next page of that statement, which talks about some more issues. There's the issue about what will be done to equipments, for instance. Now we're told that the police service will work closely with Operation Halt, and mind you, Operation Halt is solely being spearheaded by the military or the armed forces. But now we're bringing together the Ghana Police Service, and then the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is now intensifying education at point 7, which we see on the screens right now, which will then paint the image to people to see what the dire consequences are for those of us who are not aware of illegal mining and its far-reaching effects on lives and livelihood, and then the issue of our environment as well and its existence. But then the committee, finally at point 8, as we do know, will continue to review from time to time to see if indeed all of these measures would work. So it gives us room for more improvement, isn't it? The fact that, yes, government may be looking at feedback in the coming days, and then we'll begin to work on some of the conditions.
Blessed, I think we shouldn't be so excited by this statement, I need to say, because the police have right from day one been involved in this process. When Vanguard was working, it was a multi-faceted group of police and military. And even right after that, we've had calls by the district police commands, the decentralized systems to already ensure that they take up the fight and call for support from the military and police as need be. So to say that now the police is involved is, for me, nothing new. Again, the provision point 4, which is talking about what should be done to equipment, is already stipulated in the law. If they are not doing that, then there's something wrong. So we just keep getting these repeats of statements and actions over and over again. And that's something.
Okay. Daryl, thank you for your time. But even as we move forward, we know that the issues of Aisha Huang is not over yet. Government is giving commitment that they would see through the prosecution. What's your expectation at Arocha, Ghana, on the way forward? There are calls that, well, let's simply go the route of deportation and end the case here. For you at Arocha, what's your intervention into all of this? It appears that we're having challenges reaching Daryl Bosowo, but of course, point well made. He's the Deputy National Coordinator at Arocha, Ghana.
Okay, what we are demanding from the chief is that a thorough search should be done, and that thorough search should be it should be inside in each and every foreigner's house, especially the foreigners that have built their houses and get strong security in them. Those Igbos around, we want volunteers to enter into each and every foreigner house and search it. Especially the missing was the security men. We believe strongly that they are in those houses. And if you get into those houses, we'll bring them out. A thorough search should be done. That is our appeal to the
So what's your name?
Now. My name is Ahmed Folisraj.
Thank you very much.
Ahmed. It's like it's been decades now. Human being, especially West Central. And most of the times, it's only the security that are being killed. First, one was killed. We didn't know where the whereabouts of that particular person. Then on and on, we heard that they went to use a block, a stone one, which is still currently at the hospital. Then now, another was also killed and was even taken away. That's at the Star Standard. Yes. Star Standard. And today, as we speak to you right now, we are bringing all all those against this thing that was in us. We are bringing it out today because of the killing that is happening in what technical right now. And we are coming to what's the name? What chief to tell him that he should give us a chance. We will go inside each and every foreigner house, especially those of the foreigners that are saying that we can enter their houses. Why is our own? We are in what this has never happened to us before. This is the first time this is happening. And we are telling them today they should give us the chance. We'll go in and set them and we'll bring it and everything out.
You see on the screens now aggrieved youth in the Upper West region who have stormed the palace of the overlord of the Wa traditional area today, petitioning him over the increasing spate of murders and strange disappearances of residents in the area. The situation is beginning to create some general sense of anxiety and insecurity and tension in the area. Rafiq Salam has been monitoring that. First off, we take his report and get the latest from him. The National Security Council says it is taking immediate steps to deal with the matter there. So let's bring you excerpt of what's contained in that assurance coming through from the Regional Security Council, which is indicating that it has put in place and first of all noted the issues in the region and it's on high alert by coming up with pragmatic strategies and measures following the growing number of murders and disappearances in the region. Now, while investigations on these worrying incidents are ongoing, the Upper West Regional Security Council has first of all authorized increased cooperation and collaboration amongst intelligence agencies and is seeking to deepen engagement with inhabitants with the municipality within that area in line with the contemporary security practices. Hence, there's a call on all people to be more observant and vigilant to draw the attention of the police, other security agencies and local community leaders immediately they observe anything out of the ordinary. So that's the assurance coming through from the Regional Security Council. Let's bring in now Rafiq Salam, who's our Upper West Regional correspondent, monitoring all of these issues for us. Rafiq, take us away. First of all, that's the assurance we're getting from the Minister. Any more comment from the palace of the Wa Overlord, knowing that the youth are aggrieved and they have indeed sent their petition across?
Hearing from the spokesperson of the Wa Overlord, Jimpena Kader Ibrahim, he assured the arid youth this afternoon that the WANA was really concerned about the issue, and then they were taking steps to really try to unravel the mystery surrounding suspected murders in the municipality. So one issue that they want to bring to the attention of the public is that tomorrow the WANA will be meeting all sectional leaders in WA, all chiefs in the Paramonsi, including their air priest, that's the Tendambes, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And then also the spokesperson is also saying that the WANA is also urging the regional minister and then the interior minister to at least involve the number 10 mechanized battalion, the military, the soldiers right here at the one municipality, also collaborate with the police, because for them they think that the issue is beyond the police now, and so they need external forces to really help them to unravel the mystery surrounding this particular issue. But just after that interview that we had with the spokesperson of the WANA, the youth really were not really happy about that. They decided to spontaneously demonstrate in town, and they headed straight to the main traffic light, which is the heart of the one municipality, and that was where they blocked traffic and then also burned some ties there. It was really difficult for the police to control the crowds at the traffic light.
I'm just wondering, and Rafiq, I'm just wondering what's this element of foreign nationals involved in this? Where's that coming from?
Because the people are of the opinion that Wa is a small place, and Wales, or the people who are from the Wa municipality are not many. About 150,000 people. So all the people who are in Wa know the other. Everybody is the other's keeper.
Right.
And so they know what work one does or not. And so for them, they think that these incidents that are occurring could be the act of foreigners, and for them, they think that it's because of the influx of foreigners into the municipality. That's why we are recording things like that. The last time that a suspected murder may have taken place when we were in primary school, some around the 80s, and what has never recorded such an incident. And so for them, they think that 7 suspected 9 security men suspected to be missing or murdered in 5 months is something that they unheard of. And so for them, they think that the situation is getting out of hand, and they wanna, as you give them the opportunity, they will, within 2 weeks, will be able to bring the perpetrators of this heinous crime to book.
Okay, then let's bring in, but Rafiq, you'd have to stay on. There are more issues happening, but let me first off hear from Isaac Tahiru, Upper East, Upper West MC. He's actually MCE for the Wa area. That's the municipality where all of this appears to be happening. Thank you so much for your time here on the pause. So let's start off with this petition that's been sent to the Palace of the Wa Overlord. Are you aware of the content? We're getting assurances from the Regional Security Council, but district-wise, you're with the people, and I guess you are already moving to check this, correct?
Hello?
Yes, Tahir, if you're with us, I'm just asking if you're moving already to check all of the concerns that the youth are raising.
In fact, I can't hear you very well.
What measures are you putting in place to check the concerns we are learning of this afternoon?
Yeah, thank you very much. Currently, as I speak to you, I'm just returning from the community where this particular, the man who is involved in this particular incident today, hails from. We went there to meet the family. We also met with the chief of the community and all opinion leaders, especially including the youth and then assembly member representative of that community. We appeal to them to exercise restraint, give time and a space for us as Municipal Security Council to handle the matter, as we have already came out with strategies and plans to contain the situation within the municipality. We met as a Municipal Security Council. We took certain decisions and we communicated same to the Regional Security Council, for which I'm also a member. The Regional Security Council endorses our strategy, and they've also added some to it. And then we have started to roll them out for safety of the people within the municipality. As regards the content of the petition sent to the WANA, I'm not privy to it. But then the concerns from the youth is that they are not safe. There are issues and beyond the control of security within the municipality. But we also keep assuring them that they are safe until these issues start coming up. I mean, the security situation in the municipality was okay, it was perfect, and thievery, stealing, and other things were on the record low within the municipality. But this issue started coming up like that. And because it's a novel issue in the municipality, the scale at which these issues are coming up is beyond, what we anticipated or what we think we know of. So, and it is not something that is known within the municipality. So it will take time for us, to unravel the mystery behind all these things. However, precautionary measures are being taken and preventive measures are also being taken so that we can protect the people whilst we work around the corner to unravel the people behind this heinous crime and murders within the municipality.
The aspect about foreigners involved in all of this, do you have any sense that may be the case? I mean, looking through the reports from the intelligence community.
Well, one thing that made it very difficult for me to, entirely accept the perception that foreigners are involved in this is the fact that, today, these issues, nobody has been able to come out with any concrete evidence to suggest that a particular foreigner is involved in this matter. Everyone is saying this, or these allegations are being made on the back of the fact that Wa used to be a small community and a municipality, but now it has become a cosmopolitan area where we have so many people, foreigners and other people settling within the municipality. I'll let you know that one municipality holds about 1/3 of the regional population of this region. So you expect to have all sorts of people with different shapes of behavior and character. So I cannot rule out the fact that foreigners are not involved in that. But who is a foreigner in this case? You see, we know, and I believe that no relative will have the courage to go out and then subject his relative to death. So definitely somebody who is not related to the victims probably would be embarking on that, or probably will have hand in death. But as I sit now, as head of the security within the municipality, there has not been any concrete evidence from any security operative within the municipality to convince me or even advise me that this particular group of people are involved in this matter. I tell you, there has been communication from the circles of the security operatives in the region and even and beyond. So some of the tips they gave us, we gave them to the police investigators. They went through it, and a particular individual whose name was mentioned, he was picked, and his fingerprints were taken. He was cautioned and investigated. And his fingerprints were taken and compared with fingerprints that were taken for all the crimes involving this particular, cases in the municipality. And none has been able, they have not been able to relate any of those fingerprints picked, around those crime areas to that particular person. So it makes it very difficult for me to believe that a foreigner is involved. I always say that apart from myself, that I know I am not involved in this matter, any other person is a suspect to me. So therefore, I suspect foreigners. I equally suspect indigents of the municipality to have hand in this crime. But our cry to the general public is that they should give us information, intelligence, so that we can work with it. And then we also cry to the IGP and the Minister of Interior to support us in this matter. Because as I tell you now, or as I'm talking to you right now, the police, the numbers in the municipality is very, very, very low. I'm aware some checkpoints that used to be around the municipality have all been, scrapped and closed because of lack of numbers. And that is giving us serious problems. About 50 officers transferred from the municipality for the whole year, and only one person came in. So we lost about 49 officers from the municipality. So it tells you that currently the police in the municipality is overstretched.
Anyway, we'll keep our eyes on that. Haku Tahiru is Municipal Chief Executive for WA, speaking to us on the serial killings happening in that area. Rafiq, let's wrap up with you, 30 seconds. What more do we know about the coming days, and what it is that, for instance, the regional minister intends to do on the way forward?
The way forward, as the WA MC stated, that is for everybody to be on the lookout, and then also because everybody should be the other side keeper, because WA is a small community, and then everybody knows the other. And so the other thing that he also spoke on has to be the number of security personnel in the municipality. WA or other powers region, for that matter, used to have over 1,700 or 2,000 security men. But the number went down until some 3-4 years ago when President Ikupadu came around, and then he was appealed to by the overlord of the Wala Trasta area, and then the number increased. So now, as you rightly said, they are the experts, they are into the security, whatever, and they know what it is. So the number of security men, we need to have more security men in the municipality. For now, it isn't the best. Anyway, now people now in the municipality are now sleeping with both eyes open.
Anyway, Rafiq, we'll leave it here for now. Rafiq Salam, our Upper West Regional. Time now for politics. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has finally opened up for the very first time on what may be his intentions on running for president of the Republic. Rumors arrived that the Vice President, who is of course the head of the economic management team, is head-to-head with the Trade Minister Alan Kojo-Kyerematen. Just last month, the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party issued a stern warning to persons touting individuals who are running for office. However, with the next general elections fast approaching, a lot of pressure is mounting on the national leadership of the party to choose the next standard bearer for the party. So what will the vice president do? Will he run for the race? We'll be hearing from the vice president shortly, but I want to introduce at this point Kojo, is also one of the aspiring persons running for the flag bearership slot of the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 elections. Welcome, sir, to the polls.
Hi, good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Okay, I want you to listen to this carefully because there's an instructive statement the Vice President is making here, saying that for now, we need to focus, and I mean the NPP, quoting him, would have to focus on supporting the President to first of all succeed. He was speaking when he led a delegation to the inaugural ceremony of the Vice President, now President of the Republic of Kenya. Let's listen.
It's actually leading in many of these areas globally.
It's really interesting,
Yeah.
particularly you putting that digitization is not just for the sake of it, but having it find solutions.
That's right.
And looking at the enthusiasm you have about everything you're talking about, and I just went through your portfolio, everything you've done, and from the time you're studying at Oxford, and I'm like, do you ever get time to rest? Because I know as Vice President, you're currently sitting in different boards. I also believe you're consulting for the Central Bank of Ghana.
Well,
when do you rest?
Well, basically, I think that actually my wife also asked me that question. Do you ever rest?
Yeah.
You know, because I enjoy what I do, and I do, of course, find time to rest. But the problems are so many, and I'm trying as much as possible to help my boss deal with a lot of these problems because you inherit them, and you have to find solutions. And for me, that is why I'm in politics, right? Just to make sure you can help people solve problems.
Yes.
And that is so. I always say that maybe I'll rest later when we are done with more. But I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you very much.
Ghana will be having general elections in 2024.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure many Ghanaians are fronting your name to be the successor of the current president. Am I right? Are you working towards that as well?
Well, I think right now I'm just focused on helping my boss, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, fulfill his vision and deliver on his agenda. We don't really have too much time for thinking about 2024 right now. I think that, you know, if you get to 2024 and you don't have a record, you will have nothing to campaign on. So right now we are focused on that, and we don't know what the future holds, but we'll focus on the work for now.
So Kojo, your thoughts on that? The fact that you may not have a message in 2024 if we have persons touting candidates going into the primaries of the party?
The conversation is in twofold. The person speaking is the vice president of the nation, and he's saying that he needs to help his boss, who's the president, to succeed. And based on that, he would be able to stand on that to campaign. For someone like me, I hold a different view. Yes, if the party vis-a-vis the government, because the party puts in the government, what Nanado has done, Nanado is going out. Nanado is not going to be on the ballot. So for someone like me, yes, I would want to tell Ghanaians what I want to do. For the person who is speaking, who is Dr. Baumia, he would have to tell Ghanaians what he has done. And what he has done would be what Nanado has done.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to campaign. That is, if the delegates, for instance, give you a chance, you would go ahead and solely tout your personal achievements. It has to be on the track record of the NPP.
Okay, track record achievements are things in the past. His Excellency Nanado Akufo-Addo will have achieved so much, and he's going out. He's not on the ticket. What the point I'm making is that there are two different conversations. You need to tell Ghanaians what you're going to do for Ghanaians going forward. What you are touting, as you claim, as in somebody's achievement, that is in the past. We are forward-looking people. You know, His Excellency, look, the Vice President me to be able to tell Ghanaians that I have done this and done this and done this with the president. So if you give me a chance, I will continue. That is what he's saying. He's saying that he needs to be able to help his boss, the president, to finish their agenda. For someone like me, I'm not part of government, okay? What I want to tell Ghanaians is tell Ghanaians what I can do for the nation. We have multifaceted problems. We have various areas that people are complaining. It's not everything the government do that I agree with. There are some things the government does that I don't agree with. So I have to tell Ghanaians what I could do differently. But he is in a different kettle of fish. He needs to tell Ghanaians what he did with his boss, why they should let him continue. So there are two different conversations here.
Is it the case that you're not impressed about the stewardship of the vice president? He may be running alongside yourself, if indeed you all go through the vetting smoothly.
I am 100% impressed with the stewardship of the vice president. The vice president is doing a very magnificent job. But I mean, my message and his message are two different messages. He is in government, I'm not. So he needs to tell Ghanaians, I run my own personal business. I can tell Ghanaians about my personal business that I'm successfully running. But that's not what Ghanaians want to hear. Ghanaians want to hear what tomorrow holds for them. It's the future that we care about, not the past. It's like somebody telling me that, oh, the MPP ran on the goodwill and then the aspirations and the good things that President Kufuor did. President Kufuor did what he could. He's gone. Nanado has done what he can. He's not on the ticket for 2024. So, look, there are two parts of it. People want to make it a party thing, that, oh, what message is the party going to run on? The party needs to tell Ghanaians what they will do for them going forward. What has happened is under the bridge. That's spilled milk. What are we going to do for Ghanaians going forward? What message do we have for Ghanaians for 2025, 2026? What Ghana do we want to build for Ghanaians for the next 30 years? For me, that's my message. His Excellency, the Vice President, is in government, so he needs to tell the people what he did whilst in government and why they should give him a chance to come back again. That is the difference between me and the Vice President.
And Kojo, your party is beginning to get worried about the jostlings for the various vacant slots that may be available going forward. And I just want to bring you excerpts of that statement in terms of the way forward. This was the last time we're actually hearing from the General Secretary of your party, Justin Kondia-Frimpong, after some people staged the health walk in Kumasi, and of course we had some others making pronouncements on radio. So I want us to have excerpts of that in terms of the way forward. Clearly, this is a statement indicating that we wish to further reiterate that the leadership of the party is determined and committed to ensuring that activities of all party officers, executives, individuals, groups, supporters, and loyalists of presidential and parliamentary hopefuls do not breach the party's code of conduct for presidential and parliamentary primaries. The party wishes to further state that the institution and enforcement of these measures are not intended to aid any electoral advantage of any prospective candidate, but to prevent tension that often arise in the lead up to the presidential and parliamentary primaries, and to secure a united party going forward into the 2024 elections. Excerpts of the statement there. You agree that the vice president was simply saving and ensuring party unity, right?
Well, we need party unity because a united front is what will win us in 2024. Nobody is of the view that breaking the 8, which is the mantra that you heard over and over, is going to be easy. It's the first time that a party wants to continue for 12 years straight. There is a lot of factors where breaking the 8 is a problem. We need party unity, and that is why the new executives at the party wants to make sure that everybody basically follow one script. Campaigning early. Presidential election, when it comes early, brings problems. It destabilizes the government, basically throw out the various activities that needs to happen. Bear in mind, there is a need to have the parliamentary election for orphan constituencies and also for sitting constituencies. If the parliamentary election takes the lead in these things, it will create a problem for the parliamentarians also, because then the grassroots will be split into various camps, and some MPs might not be able to get their message to be heard. Meanwhile, it might not be the necessary conversation that needs to be had at that point. So it's important that everybody listen to what the party executives are saying and not basically peek ahead of time.
The president, the vice president, I should say, indicating that there are so many challenges confronting this government. You agree that it may actually affect your fortunes going into the future?
Those challenges facing the government will be solved, hopefully, before 2024. The government still have 2 years to run. I mean, the government is not ending tomorrow. They all agree there are challenges in the country, but with the leadership of the president, we are hoping that there will be solutions to some of these problems before 2024.
How about the meeting that we heard of? Of course, as part of the earlier instructions I brought through earlier on the way forward, which was issued by the General Secretary of your party, Justin Kodia Frimpong. There was supposed to be a meeting being spearheaded by the National Steering Committee of your party to engage all of you who are, of course, intending to run as presidential candidates for the NPP. Has that meeting happened? And what were some of the resolutions? And would you say that you're on course as a political party?
Well, the meeting has not happened. For the last time I heard, there was going to be a meeting of all aspirants. That meeting has not taken place. Hopefully it would. If it doesn't, for me, look, if the General Secretary of the party comes out and say that everybody should abide by the code of conduct, everybody should abide by the code of conduct. Peaking early and making noise, if you think you are popular, okay, just wait till when you file your document and you go through vetting, you are popular regardless. Trying to go ahead of time to try and campaign now or do posters, do banners, and do billboards across the country doesn't make you any popular or popular as it is. I am the only person in this race who has never been a minister, has never been an MP, has never held any party position. So if anybody is supposed to be making noise and trying to get ahead of themselves, it should be me. But I'm calm, I'm not doing any of those. So those that have been in politics for over 20 years and are still trying to jump the gun in trying to not abide by this code of conduct is a bit amazing because everybody knows their name. Most of these people are household names. I'm the only one that I'm having to now make sure that people across the country even know that there's somebody called Kuchupoku who wants to run for this flag bearership. But most of the competitors or the prospective aspirants are people that has been in politics for over 20 years. So I'm surprised they are all in a hurry to basically jump the gun, so to say.
But surprisingly, we've not officially heard a categorical statement from the Vice President indicating that he'll contest, and that of the Trades Minister. The fear is that giving the directives from the President that anyone who declares their aspirations may have to resign from this government, probably that's what's delaying the process. What's your take on that presidential statement regarding persons who are within government and would want to run for president?
The Vice President is the only one who does not have to resign. From the tradition that has been, everybody who is a minister resigns to contest. The Vice President is the only one that does not have to resign to contest. We saw that with Aliyu Mahama. All other ministerial position aspirants have to resign. Aliyu Mahama stayed on as Vice President and basically contested. I think it's the norm. If you look at Nigeria, all the other people who were trying to contest had to resign. The Vice President was the only one who stayed on and contested. So I think the norm is that everybody else have to resign, but the Vice President is the only one who will stay on and campaign as a Vice President.
And this is where many or some political analysts are saying, allow the Vice President to go uncontested. The fact that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia appears to be the face of the New Patriotic Party now. He's done many more campaigns than any of you going into the elections. He's been out there, and he says we don't know what the future holds for him in terms of as to whether or not he would contest. But the feeling from some experts is allow Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to contest unopposed, so you can have him as your flag bearer going into the 2024 elections. Kuchupoku, are you not of the view that if we allow Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to lead the NPP, your party may have better chances in the 2024 elections?
Well, nobody has any better chances than anybody else. The party constitution says that there will be a primaries held at least 12 months before the election, the general election. If anybody thinks that by the fact of being a vice president, you are popular, let's go and look at the results, what happened in 2007 in Legon and see what number Aliyu Mahama got at that time. May he so rest in peace. Look, like I said to you, for me, the message is very simple. The grassroots of the party are the cardinals and the princes of this party. They are the ones that are supposed to elect the new leader. We changed our constitution in 2012 to say that the grassroots, the polling station executives, the coordinators are the majority of the people that vote. They are about 183,000. They are the ones whose voice is to be heard. There's nothing called unopposed. There's nothing called popular acclamation. If you think you are popular, go to the grassroots, tell them what you want to do for this party, and they would massively vote for you.
Yeah, but let's bring experience on, or perhaps convenient advantage, if I may call it that way. The vice president now has stood the test of time. You stood with your presidential candidate on three separate, or at least two known separate occasions. Contested the elections, lost, was in the witness box for you, infamous witness box for you, in the 2008 presidential, 2012 presidential petition. Then we're seeing him continue to serve as the vice president. So he's been around for quite some time, you agree?
So he would not have any problem with the grassroots of the party. All the things that you are telling me, the grassroots of the party is aware of. The 183,000 grassroots of the party are aware of all the things you've told me. If they think that those criteria is enough for him to be president flag bearer, they would vote for him to be flag bearer and the president of this nation. Basically, nobody can acclaim, nobody can say, let somebody go uncontested. The prince and cardinals of this party are the grassroots. They are the ones that we respect. They are the ones that everybody has to go to tell them why they want to continue in any position or be in a position. If they agree with your assessment, then there shouldn't be a problem.
So here's the case. There are people who have put across some solutions to this matter. We've heard, is it the likes of Titus Glover? I'm not sure if that's the exact person making such a proposition, but other key figures within your New Patriotic Party say, let's have, for instance, the Trades Minister run with the Vice President then as your presidential candidate, and then Alan Chermanting as the Vice Presidential candidate. Some say it should be the other way around. Where do you situate yourself in all of this, and what do you have to say about some of these propositions that are coming through?
Well, it's interesting conversation to be had. Look, the party needs to win 2024. If the powers that be, or some people within the party think that they can convince somebody not to contest and that person will be a flag bearer, that is a negotiation, a horse trading between two people. It will not stop the contest happening. The primaries of the party would be had. The constitution says that there's going to be a primaries. Whether two people within the number of 9 or number of 10 wants to come and say that, okay, we are going to go into horse trading. You contest. If you win, it makes me a flag bearer. That's a conversation between two people. It does not bind anybody in the party to that. The party needs to go to the polls. We need to conduct election for the flag bearer. The amazing thing is that if that camp, which is the two camps you mentioned, the trade minister and the vice president, think that they have enough support to be able to do that horse trading, one puts his weight behind the other, and they campaign as a team. And if the first president, which is the vice president, win, he makes the trade minister vice president. If they think that can work, why not? That is for them to do, not for me to say anything about. I, Kojo Poku, am in this race to try and win it. I'm not discussing flag bearer with anybody. Nobody discussing flag bearer with me. The most important thing is that I am talking to the grassroots of the party. They think I deserve to be the flag bearer of the party. I'll be flag bearer of the party. Nobody can push them to be flag bearer of the party.
Who would be your potential vice presidential candidate if you're giving the opportunity?
If I have your personal number, I'll probably be talking to you to discuss that with you.
Interesting points there, but we'll have to leave it here. I'm sure the conversation will continue some other time. Kojo Poku, presidential aspirant on the ticket of the NPP. We'll see what then will happen in the coming days. Let's take you live now to the Tomerick Hotel here in Accra, where the National Identification Authority is giving some updates on that sensitive matter of the Ghana card. A lot of issues surrounding the issuance of the card. Professor Atefua, there in your shots. We take you live there now.
Registration points in a district. Today, there is only one office in a district. At the 200 registration centers, you may have about 16 people serving the people, 16 NIA officials. Today, there is only one office per district, and there are 4 people in that district office. Maximum is 5, and that's at the regional offices. We augment them with the staff numbers with national service personnel and all of that, which is why we established additional points as Stadia and the rest. So, Kofi, when you ask what strategies, why can't we, and you use the word, you said get rid of. We don't intend to get rid of people. We want to serve the people in dignity and respect. But the people must also meet us halfway. When you get up and go to the NIA registration center at 4 a.m. and you are tired and frustrated and hungry as you would be as a human being, you have short fuses. You see a Chinese or a Lebanese or a white person walking at 10 o'clock, and the person is ushered into an office, you immediately suspect that there is corruption, that you are being disrespected as a Ghanaian. When the person has made an appointment using an online portal and has come there and is going to pay the fee, and there is a modality for paying fees. So please, if you have any fresh ideas, it may well be that we are at our wits' end, but we have done all that is reasonably necessary and appropriate, given our financial, logistical, and technical constraints, to serve the people of this country and to do so well. So, yes, it breaks my heart to see people at our offices. It breaks my heart to hear of the corruption, the extortion of monies by NIA staff. And there is credence to that. Some of them have been arrested, prosecuted, some people have been jailed, and some have been interdicted, and all kinds of processes are going on that I say I'll share with you. It may be minuscule, the numbers may be negligible, but the fact of the matter is that some of it is happening. We have to change the whole office, the personnel in the whole office, replace them, and interdict them, all of that. So there are real challenges by a small number of our people, but it is happening nonetheless. And if you are one person who has not had your card and you have made strenuous efforts, as some have done, it is painful. But we will welcome any suggestions that will help us improve either on our service delivery or the opportunities. Remember, we operate within budgetary constraints. We operate with people who have been trained, who have worked around the country, who have speed, dexterity, and competence. You can't just take anybody and say, go and issue cards. You can't just increase the numbers. Within this context, if you have some suggestions, we will welcome them, sir. But as for we and our household, as for us and our household, we shall continue to serve the Lord. Now, do Chinese tell why they are in Ghana when they are coming in? They are not required by the laws of NIA. Nobody is required to, whether they are Chinese or British or anything. And we have to be careful not to be selective about this. Jingoism is dangerous. Excessive nationalism, but one that also targets others. That is xenophobia. And we have to be careful not to drift into xenophobia because Chinese numbers are large in our country, or a woman called Aisha Huang is said to be dangerous, or any of the considerations that dominate public discourse about Chinese and about Nigerians and about Cameroonians. The same kinds of discourse have happened in respect of us as Ghanaians in the diaspora. And there's nothing more painful when you're a decent student abroad and people suspect you to be a criminal just because you're black and you drive a certain vehicle or you dress in a certain manner and all of that. We have to hasten slowly. Festina Lante. And then, so our forms don't require that. Other state institutions, maybe immigration, when you are coming in, you fill immigration form, they ask you, visitor, businessman, medical, all those kinds of things. That's when you give the reasons, not on the NIA application form for the Ghana card. The questions that are requisite exist on our forms. This is not one of them. It is the profession that is required to be stated with respect to NIA. So please, I want that caution to go out there. We want to live in harmony with our compatriots from other countries who are here. So we've spoken about strategy to get rid of people. We will not get rid of them, but let them go home with their cars. How many cars issued to, what's her name? Aisha. To Huang. So that makes two, one. The second one was not issued because it was rejected by the system. So it is the old one that has been renewed for her. And who can guarantee for who? Sir. Brah. Madama. They told you, almost say you can't register, you can't guarantee many pakro because you are not a public officer. And that was, okay, there are two ways. So we're a journalist. Now, a journalist. Oh, okay, because he's asking Chi. All right, so under our laws, there are two ways of getting the card. You get the card by proving your citizenship with documents, either a passport or a birth certificate. A birth certificate first, passport. Now, if you have neither and you must go through the vouching route, there are two different categories of people. There are people who can guarantee or vouch for you if they are your relative. If they are your relative, you need only one relative. Okay. So it depends on the relationship you have with the person you want to vouch for. If the person is your relative, no problem, you alone. But if the person is not your relative, then the applicant requires two people, one of whom, or both of whom, sorry, each of whom must meet a certain criteria. In your case, you are a journalist. The law says that a professional, a licensed professional, so teachers, nurses, doctors, drivers are licensed professionals, right? Professors, as in whatever field, lawyers, accountants, auditors, and all those other people, surveyors and pharmacists. Journalists. So you qualify as a journalist. And the usual idea is that somebody who is traceable and trackable and, perhaps arrestable. someone who has gone through a certain training, has gone through a certain professional preparation, and there is a linkage, an assessment by a board, a certification authority, that sort of thing. So that we raise the bar, we raise the standard of integrity, honesty in deciding who is a Ghanaian, we raise it a bit high. So when they told you that you are not a public officer, they were focusing only on one class of qualified persons. Public officers, such as myself. Mr. Kumson here is not a public officer. He's from the private sector. He can guarantee for you because he's also a professional banker, but not because he's a public officer. But any of us here, including my driver and the police officer here, can vouch or guarantee. And in terms of the security sector, the law mentions them. So it is a wide range of people who are qualified. And the intent of the law is to make it easy for people to be vouched for in truth. It is not to make it difficult, but surely, if you are 26 and you come wanting to vouch for a relative who is 65, and you say that relative, you are vouching for the 65-year-old as a Ghanaian. Now, you do not know that 65-year-old person's ancestry. You are 26, but you want to vouch for that person. It raises practical questions of the believability of the information you give. So I hope that answers that. Yes. And when it is not a relative, then you need two of these people that I'm describing. You need two such people. Yes, and there is a list. Add it.
Okay, so there's a list of people that can vouch for applicants if
Cards, sure, I'll make it clear.
the list, as Paul said, is the licensed professional. So if there are any licensed body gives you a license, then you can vouch for an individual. And the rest of the list includes a chief imam, or an imam basically. An imam or a pastor, somebody who is in the clergy, can vouch for you. In our law, it says that
chief.
even a catechist, because there's no person in the area, a gazetted chief can vouch for you, not just a chief, but a gazetted chief can vouch for you. And then people who are registered teachers, so a head teacher, anybody who is registered at the government service as a teacher can vouch for you. The parliamentarian, whether past or current, can vouch for you. An assemblyman, whether in the past or whatever, can vouch for you. A unit committee member can vouch for you. A judge or a magistrate can vouch for you. And then officers in the security services. And the security services spells out Ghana Fire Service, Ghana Immigration. So that's the list that our officers are required to go by. And there are instances where maybe you may bring one person who falls within the list, but the other person cannot. So we check that. And you can have an instance where somebody is a businessman, but the person is also a lawyer. So we are relying on his professional status as a lawyer to allow him to vouch, and not his status as a businessman, because that is not part of the list of people who can vouch as a businessman. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, through Mr. So, look, there's a last question here. The two last questions. How long does it take to get a Ghana card? To get a replacement. Yes, I thought I had answered it. But if you go there, if you go there with an appointment, if you go there without an appointment and you meet a queue, you meet a queue. But how long is determined from the time you sit before our officer. And that one, I am assuring you, it takes just about 45 minutes. If it is a replacement, it's very short.
If it's a replacement, you lock it.
Explain to you.
Okay, so for replacement services, currently, replacement services are done at our district offices. So you put in a request for replacement. And I think just before we started that, we indicated to the world that a replacement may not necessarily be an instant. You won't get the card instantly because we have to review your basis for a replacement. There are people who bring police reports to say that their cards are missing, and in the police reports, even the names on the report do not correspond with their names in
on the card.
National Identity
Register.
Sometimes you might see that they say my card is missing on the police report, but it doesn't say where it was missing. It doesn't say the circumstances under which it got missing. It doesn't say when. So that is very scanty information. So there's a reviewing team which reviews the request. So it may not be instant. It's unlike new registrations where when you walk in, you are set there and then you are given a replacement is booked. And then once it's approved, you are notified and then you come in for a registration. Currently, I think it takes about a week for you to do a replacement. It is the same with the update process.
Okay. Yeah, and Kesben, you wanted yes, you wanted a regional breakdown. We can give you a regional breakdown, but not here. I can't give you a regional breakdown right now, but it's an important information to have. Others have asked for it, and in the course of this week, we will make it available. Yes. And I want to emphasize, please. As far as this Aisha Huang, there is only one card. Her name is Huang, the one we know. And there is only one card since 2014, and it has been renewed and the most recent renewal was on the 25th of August. One of the questions that some journalists and others have been asking is why does it say her card was issued on 25th and then it was a Sunday and NIA doesn't work on Sunday? It's a very interesting question. But since the piloting, during the mass registration, during household registration, during institutional registration, we have registered people on Sundays. We have printed cards on Sundays. We have issued cards on Sundays. We have always worked whenever we must on Sundays. And when people's cards don't print at the registration centers, our staff stay at print farms, like a room like this. There will be about 40 or 50 computers, printers here. And they'll print the cards, whether it is a weekend or not, so that the cards can be boxed, batched, and sent to the registration centers for people to pick up. That is how we have done it all the time. So Aisha Huang's thing, there's nothing problematic about it at all. And as for the date, there is a mathematical formula for calculating it. It begins from the date, your expiry date is the day of issuance plus 1 year plus minus a day. That is, I'm sorry? Yes, for the non-citizens, that's what I'm speaking to. For the non-citizens, because for citizens it's 10 years. But for the non-citizens, it is date of issuance plus 1 year minus a day. That formula makes it seamless. And that way too, you cannot wait and say that, or you cannot be disadvantaged or have an advantage by waiting to come and renew your card or not. And it is the same formula that is used by the DVLA, for example, for the provision of roadworthy certificates. It is a standard scientific criteria used by various institutions, including some passport offices around the world. There is nothing unusual about those circumstances. Yes. Oops. Oh dear. Yes. So, yes, we're done. Okay, we're done. Sure. No.
Okay, so shall we all clap for?
So, excerpts there from the Turmeric Hotel, where the National Identification Authority is giving some updates on the issuance of the Ghana card. Primarily, there are two issues coming up. First of all, the issue having to do with the backlog, which the NIA is unable to clear. There's also the deadline for the SIM registration, which is in the offing. We're getting a sense that we cannot get a breakdown of the regional figures right now, but the assurance from the NIA is that a lot of expedited work will be done so that persons in the very local areas can get their cards on time. There's the issue of Aisha Huang, the Chinese national accused of engaging in illegal mining, and how, of course, her situation was not flagged by the system. The Professor Tefua there indicating clearly that there's absolutely nothing wrong with her procedure, and that there's one name in the system, which is N Huang. We understand that her name now is Rosia, as we're getting in terms of the accounts there. Let me bring in Ni Tete, who's the Executive Secretary for the Strategic Thinkers Network Africa, which is Strategic Africa. They've been monitoring this exercise for quite some time now. Thank you, Ni Tete, for your time. So quite a lot of issues, but let's start off with the inability of the NIA to provide us with a regional breakdown. I was of the view that that would have helped us to know what was happening in every part of the country. Are you equally concerned about the inability of the NIA to provide these figures?
Let me say good afternoon to your viewers. Well, I couldn't agree more with the fact that there should be some regional breakdown. And if for nothing at all, it should even be district breakdown. It is unfathomable that indeed NIA is unable to give us a district breakdown and even a regional breakdown, and they are now putting them together. Right from the beginning, they should have done that, because the Electoral Commission has been doing that. Other institutions have been doing that. What kind of work were they doing that they could not put together district by district, so that at least people can come to understand the kind of work they have done and the kind of work they have not done. Maybe if they had done that, maybe there'll be better understanding. And then perhaps people may be encouraged that, well, in this district, this is how many people have been registered, or this is how many people that do not have their Ghana card. And so in that regard, maybe let us expedite action in making sure that everybody gets a Ghana card. So the district directors or the district managers of NI, right, how are they able to do their own survey to be sure that these are the people that are registered in their district and these are the people that are registered to be able to even do a sensitization? That is even a great cause to worry. I am actually disappointed in NI for not putting this thing together right from the beginning, because clearly there should be some office who would have been doing this particular work, so that at least time after time they can put the workers in the district on their toes and make sure that if they are not meeting a certain target, they can be made to set up. But now now that there's so much pressure because of the SIM card registration, and it looks like the Electoral Commission also wants to rely on Ghana card, and it looks like everybody wants to rely on Ghana card. It is now that NIA is trying to be a bit serious, and now they've seen that the Ghana card has become so important, and they need to know how to do press conference and explain all this. These things should have been done long ago. These things should have been done. Professor, he has been there for almost 6 years, right? And so these 6 years, is he saying that right from that time he took office? He took office the very moment the government, the MPP took power, and he has been there. He has not been reshuffled. He has been there for 6 years, and he is now telling us that he's going to put the numbers together. What are we playing in this country at all? Because this should have been done long ago. It should have been done long ago, because, of course, we know the competence that he has. And so this is totally disappointing that with all the people sitting there who are more than qualified to occupy the positions they occupy there, who are sitting by him to even explain about Ghana card, they could not put together regional breakdown. They could not put together district breakdown. So how were they doing the work? How are they able to tell the kind of cards they are issuing? How are they able to even tell whether there's some fictitious, work going on there in the district? How are they able to tell? It's very, very disappointing. But we want to be a bit patient with them and see whether they will expedite action and ensure that district breakdown, regional breakdown is done. Because clearly that is how we'll be able to appreciate the kind of work that has been done, the number of Ghana card that has been issued, those who do not have the card, and what have you. So we hope that this issue about the comments about they are working on it will not just be another maybe 6 months. No, by now it should have been completed. At least they can bring out the district breakdown, and through the district breakdown, people can even calculate region, because they have districts. Unless they don't have district offices and they are now putting up the district offices, then that's another issue, which will also be disappointing, because whether we like it or not, Ghana card has come to stay. And the way things are going,
and that's why, that's why I want to bring up the issue about the 2 weeks deadline, the fact that we're just 2 weeks away from the deadline in terms of the SIM re-registration exercise. Looking at the backlog that the NIA is dealing with, it appears that more and more persons may not be able to meet that timeline. Hence, they are at risk of losing their SIM cards.
Yes, that should tell you the failure on the side of the National Communication Authority to work hand in hand with the NIA. It's a big disappointment, because before the National Communication Authority could have done that, the issue that noticed, encouraging or warning subscribers to register their SIM card, they should have sought the consent of the NIA to find out whether indeed that target can be met. But look, the way things are going, the National Communication Authority cannot dare block the SIM cards of subscribers, especially those who do not have the Ghana card, and it's not because they don't want to go for the Ghana card, because the NIA cannot meet the deadline. The NCA cannot block or should not block the SIM cards of subscribers. Earlier on, we indicated it will open rooms for litigation. Once, as a Ghanaian, I know that it is not my fault to be unable to register my SIM card. It is because NIA cannot issue to me my Ghana card at the time I want it because of the NCA deadline. And you want to block my SIM card, then it means that you are actually asking me to litigate or to go to court to call you to order that indeed it is actually the fault of a public institution that is being run by my taxes. So clearly, NCA should come back to the drawing table. It should call on board NI, have an extensive discussion with them, and extend the deadline. Because you see, the way a manner NCA is behaving, it means they have their own personal motive. They are unperturbed about the fact that Ghanaians do not have the Ghana card, not because it's not their fault, but they think that they just have to block people's numbers and so that at least maybe it will show them where power lies. But trust me, the way and manner the NCA is going about this SIM card registration is totally uncalled for. And it's very, very disappointing that the NIA and the NCA have not worked hand in hand. And so it means that NCA will have to hasten slowly, because we cannot blame NIA if they are not able to issue the Ghana card, if they don't have enough resources, because obviously they need to be given resources by government. They don't have any other thing. They have to rely on funds from our taxes to get this thing done. So clearly, I hope that NCA will listen and know that no, per this press conference that NI has done, it means that they need to reconsider the deadline. That will help NCA, that will help IA, and it will prevent the opening of the floodgates of litigation in this country. Because I don't think that Ghanaians will sit down and allow themselves to be treated this way when it's not their fault.
Okay, let's wrap up on the final leg of the Aisha Huang case. The fact that we have a foreign national acquiring the card when indeed she was subject to national security issues. The NIA trying to justify that the name they had in the system was N. Huang. So possibly there was no way they could have detected the Ruzia she was working with. But her problem dates way back to 2014 and even beyond, when of course some changes were made in the system. For you, are the reasons being given by the NIA now justifiable?
The reasons from the NIA is very right. I mean, I cannot imagine the fact that NIA is trying to justify this particular matter in terms of Aisha Huang. First of all, we know that Aisha Huang ended up becoming a national security threat. The Interior Minister was sitting there. Was he not there? Maybe I didn't see him. But of course, the Interior Minister should be there, or is aware of this. The national security apparatus are aware of that. Yes, maybe Aisha Huang got the card before she became a national security threat. But does it mean that when she became a national security threat and she was being deported, or it was claimed that she was deported, does it mean that NI could not detect? Was there not a face there? Does it mean that they don't know the face of Aisha Huang? And so they just renewed the Ghana card just like that? That defense is weak. That defense, I clearly believe that the NI should be apologetic for causing this reckless thing. Because first of all, once Aisha Huang became a national security threat, it means that her Ghana card should have been traced. We cannot believe that explanation that it was there 2014 and it was renewed. Yes, the very moment she was even renewing, at that point, she was a national security threat. Even if she was not a national security at that time, you could have traced it because she's a foreigner. And of course, you don't have to wait for people to blow the alarm that she has a Ghana card before you are now checking and you are saying that was the name. That picture was there. So my name is Insecurity. The very moment I call myself Nebuchadnezzar or Jehoshaphat, does it change my face? Does it change my face? That yes, my name is Jehoshaphat. And so once you didn't see the in the system and you saw Jehoshaphat, it means that it means that you did not see the Ghana card a real for me. Come on, that is the example the NI is trying to give. That because she did not see Aisha Huang and N1, it meant that they didn't know. Come on, let's get serious in this country. That defense is actually weak. They shouldn't come back to give that defense because look, they are even becoming a laughing stock. We rather expect them to be apologetic and see that, well, it was an error. They may claim that, well, it was an error on our part. That one, you have eaten your humble pie, and Ghanaians will come to understand. But you don't come and be defending a very weak way, and you see, you become a laughing stock as an institution that because of the name, when you have forgotten that apart from the name, your picture is there. So clearly, and obviously, you are collaborating with the national security apparatus, including the Interior Ministry, and so all these details are there. They are in your system.
Right.
Unless maybe there's more to it that they are not saying. But of course, you see, this one is like a fire service approach. You could see the way a manner the NIA has done press conference, and they have to bring down the executive secretary to come and sit down and call all the heads to come and sit there, so that once he can't answer, you say answer. It means that the matter chop hot, quote unquote. The matter chop hot, and so now they need to make sure that they have to adopt the fire service approach so that they are not embarrassed. But we would have to make it clear that at this point in time, they have been caught pants down. NIA has been caught pants down for its inability to do their work well regarding Aisha Huang.
Okay.
We rather expect them to be apologetic and say that, well, it was an error on our part. We eat a humble pie, and we believe that we'll make sure that the systems are put in place so that it doesn't happen again. Full stop. But that defense, come on, we don't expect them to do that.
Anyway, and that's where we find ourselves now. But Ni would have to leave the conversation here. Ni Tete is with Stranik Africa. You're with us here on The Pulse on the JoyNews channel. When we return, we have some more details for you. And you're welcome back to The Pulse. Ukraine's successful counteroffensive over the past week has brought the war in Ukraine into very sharp focus. Once again, a huge element of Ukraine's capacity to push back Russia is weapons deliveries from Europe and elsewhere. So let's cross over now to Berlin and speak to Sullivan, who's with our partners, Deutsche Welle, getting us the latest on this. Sullivan, have the recent Ukrainian successes led to calls within Germany for more weapons to be delivered to that country?
Yes, Ukraine's success in its counteroffensive over the last week in pushing Russia back a significant way within its own territory has proven to a lot of the Western powers just how successful Ukraine can be in the fight against Russia. And naturally, Ukraine has consistently asked for more weapons throughout this war and said if it gets what it asks for, it can be even more successful. So that has led to significant debate within Germany, because Germany, a lot of the pressure around this question has focused on Germany, given that it's Europe's largest economy, it's its biggest country, and it also produces a lot of these weapons. So that debate is ongoing at the moment within the German government and within German society in general. Germany has already provided a significant amount of support, but there are certain reservations within the country around the extent to which it leads on this issue and the absolute extent to which it will support Ukraine. But the debate is increasing, and we've seen even in the last few days the Ukrainian foreign minister has directly called out Berlin and called out Germany, asking for the country to provide heavier weapons, specifically tanks. And the nature of that request has ratcheted up the pressure on Germany in this regard.
And this is why I want to ask about approximately how much Germany and Europe in general has given to Ukraine in terms of military aid since the war began.
Well, Europe in general has given several billions when we combine various countries and the EU institutions, although by far the biggest donor to Ukraine in terms of military aid by a long, long way is the US. Germany has given between 1.2 billion and 1.5 billion euros between pledges and what it's already given to Ukraine. Now, a lot of those weapons and that military support were defensive systems at the start, although the demands from Ukraine were consistently for more offensive weapons, and slowly Germany did begin to provide those, although on this question that I referenced earlier regarding the tanks, there is that reluctance from Germany to provide this kind of support, specifically because no countries as of yet have given Western-made tanks to Ukraine, and Germany is reluctant to lead on that specific issue.
And it's not as though this has just been a free time for the leaders, because there's significant opposition in Germany itself within the whole country when it comes to these arms delivery. Why is that happening? And what about the rest of Europe as well?
Yeah, this is quite a complex question, and to really understand it, we have to look at the history of German foreign policy since World War II. Germany, obviously, as the aggressor, as Nazi Germany during World War II, and the atrocities that it committed, many of them indeed in Russia, it has greatly complicated ever since Germany's foreign policy, and it has always shown a great reluctance to spend a lot or to lead a lot when it comes to military issues. You also have the question of Germany's own historic relationship with Russia. East Germany was a client state of the Soviet Union. Germany developed a very close relationship with Russia in terms of its energy policy, importing a lot of gas and oil through what was known as the Ostpolitik, or Eastern policy. So Germany has not always easily been the leader on these kind of issues. And when it comes to issues around defence and military security in Europe, Germany has certainly never been the leader. And that's where a lot of the opposition stems from. A lot of people in German society feel Germany should not take on that role because of its history. At the flip side, though, people say the world has changed. The post-World War II order is over, and Germany, as the biggest country, the biggest economy, must show more leadership on this issue. And so that debate continues to rage. The German government has increasingly shown signs that it understands that. It has made pledges to change its position in the military. So that is what we're going to see probably in the next months and indeed years ahead.
And we'll keep on monitoring that space. Sullivan is with our partners, Deutsche Welle, and that's where we draw the curtains on the polls here on the JoyNews channel. We do have more content for you online. It's at myjoyonline.com. I'm sure that you can get some updates from there. I'm Blessed Sogah. Next